By the way, for everybody who's tuned in that didn't see my last one, I'm a DJ and music producer. It's my passion in life, right? I went to ChatGPT and I said, I want you to make a Python program that will take a wave audio file that I give you that'll be 180 BPM. And I want you to cut it into 8 or 16 different pieces and then rearrange those pieces into a different order and then do that 10 times and then ask me if I want to do it again.
Hello, welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion.
I'm Old Man Raptor with the Pumpkin here, and our guest is...
Yo, what's up? It's Annias. Hello.
It's good seeing you again, sir.
It's good having you back. And
Hey, thank
I have
you.
your
It's good seeing
avatar
both
shown
you
this
guys.
time.
Hey. Well, you know, I didn't know that you didn't know, so that's one of those things where like we're in our own reality tunnel, and you don't know that you don't know what you don't know. You know?
Indeed.
I know. A lot of no's going nowhere, but we know something now. Ain't that the bitch? We know something now. Yeah.
Who knows?
As Donald Rumsfeld said, you got known unknowns and unknown unknowns.
So,
knowing is half the battle.
Indeed, knowing is half the battle. So,
the battle.
Since we last talked, you and I have talked an awful lot, and you've mentioned to us you're into AI a lot, and it seemed like we kind of dipped into it last time a little bit, but tell us about what kinds of stuff you do with AI.
Oh, sure. Well, it's a pleasure to see everybody again. Thank you for having me back a second time. I just want to let everybody know I really have fallen in love with Lion Turtle and Dirty Raptor. These two are awesome, and they're doing a great job promoting our community.
So never get anywhere.
Before I answer the AI question, I just want to give them a little pat on the back because these two are working really hard, and they need a little bit. Somebody's got to say something. Okay, I just want to let you guys know you're doing an awesome job.
Well, thank you very much.
I'm not trying to butter you up or anything. I'm not trying to butter you up or anything.
Well, I do a strange feeling. You saying butter us up. I have a strange feeling we're going to have like a breakup conversation here in a minute. You're absolutely amazing. I'm glad to get to know you. But
hey, don't pat,
so to answer
don't pat too hard. You might knock me outside the world here and I never come back.
Okay.
Light taps with fingers.
Well, to answer your question, Lion, oh, I'm sorry. I'm having trouble hearing Raptor. Let me turn him up just a little bit. I'm going to turn you up a little bit.
I would turn myself
up.
I'm confused.
Another beautiful thing about Vrchat, you know, is being able to manage all your different sounds, like for what you need. If you need people to be louder or quieter, I love that.
Indeed. If only the real world had that kind of deal where someone's annoying in the bus and you can just turn them down.
Yeah, turn down Billy. He's over there farting again. I don't have to listen to that crap. I don't even have to smell it.
It does feel a little bit like a cheat code, you know, because, you know, like if somebody's a little too drunk or annoying or whatever, you know, you can just kind of just turn them down. It feels like if you're it's like a cheat code.
Indeed. Yeah, sorry to have like the constant flow. What kinds of stuff do you do with AI? Because what you've been telling us so far has been absolutely fascinating.
Well, I've been doing a lot of stuff with AI, and I'll say that I think when most people think about AI, they've just got a little bit of a limited imagination about what's possible with it. I keep running into this situation where I'll explain to somebody that I've been focusing on AI for the last year, and they're like, yeah, I just, you know, I'll say, hey, have you tried out ChatGPT? And they'll say to me, yeah, I just don't think that there's like a lot that it can help me with or whatever. Or, you know, earlier today, I had a conversation about the newest thing in AI, which is OpenAI's MyGPT. So everybody knows that ChatGPT exists and you can go talk to this kind of supercomputer. It's great. But now you're able to design an individualized one called a MyGPT for any particular subject that exists. So it doesn't matter if it's like personal or business or entertainment or just educational or whatever it is. You can make a MyGPT that's yeah, I've collected maybe 100 in the last day or so that people have created, and I've got a small business lawyer. I've got a bartender. I've got a bud tender. I've got a psychologist. I can't even think. I've got a bunch of different applicable ones, and it's a little bit different than what we had before. Before, you could kind of go to this know everything bot and kind of tell it to focus a little bit more on something else, but it's still a spotlight. Or I'm sorry, it's still a floodlight. But now with these MyGPTs, you can give it custom instructions to be one particular thing, focus on one particular thing, and then feed it resources and knowledge to know how to really do that thing. And more importantly, connect it to outside resources to perform actions, such as what the ones that are built in. Like, it can now reach out to the web and just search the web for whatever it needs. It can now see and draw images. And when I say that, like, I don't mean it can just see an image. I mean, like, it can look at a picture of a person that's like in the process of falling down, and you say, what's happening in this picture, and they're gonna say a person's about to fall down or whatever. Like, it can see, it has good vision, it understands what it's looking at out of the box now. And lastly, you can connect it to external APIs, application programming interfaces, which means that you can connect it to anything. If everybody isn't aware, there's a website out there called, I'm not endorsed by them, but I'm just going to let you know, there's a website called Zapier, which allows you to connect to 5,000 different programs. It's probably more than that now. That was like where they were at about a year ago. But you can like create workflows that interconnect between thousands of programs now, and you can connect ChatGPT to Zapier. So you're literally one step away from allowing it to access over 5,000 different applications. So how does that actually apply to us in the real world? Well, I could build a MyGPT now that says, well, I live in Chicago. I don't live in Chicago, Illinois. I'm just making an example. I live in Chicago, Illinois, and I'm hungry for some Italian tonight, and I really want somebody that makes good manicotti, right? So look up the Italian restaurants in Chicago, review their reviews, find some people that said a couple good things about some manicotti, and tell me how to get there and how much it's going to cost or whatever. And fuck, I mean, if it's set up to certain other APIs, maybe you could even have it just make you reservations at restaurants. So you basically are having a conversation with it to find out some information, but now it's also crossed the boundary into just straight up being able to do whatever you need it to do in the real world too.
Oh, wow.
Like, you could actually make it to where it would call the restaurant for you, and then an AI would talk to the person to set up your, reservation, and then it would just come back to you and say, cool, they're ready. They'll have your guys' meal ready at 7:30. You can show up whenever, blah, blah, blah. I'm just giving you an example of we now have the ability to just make really intensely intelligent AIs that can do specific tasks and connect to the outside world. And that's just all just starting to really come to fruition within the last couple of weeks as far as putting it into the public's hands, because now everybody can create it very easily. You don't even have to know how to program. They made it to where it's conversational. So when you create these MyGPTs, you can just talk to it about what you want, and it will create it for you. So, for instance, the very first one that I created was a MyGPT that helps me create MyGPTs. So now when I want to create a MyGPT, when I have an idea, I go to that one and I talk to it about it, and then it gives me all the shit that I need to make the next one. Right?
Yeah.
So this is the kind of way that I think about AI, right? Like, when I use AI, I'm not trying to fucking master so many different fields where I can do everything. I'm just first going to make an AI that helps me do the thing I need to do, and then I'm going to have that AI help me make other AIs to do the things I need to do, right? That's how I use AI, one way, right? Where I just apply it real intensely to all of my pursuits in life so that I can quickly advance my knowledge and also just make really cool functional shit. OpenAI is now going to pay people, like when you, like Raptor, whatever you're into, right? Like, say you're into fucking zebras or whatever, and you want to make like the best zebra fucking interview, knowledgeable pet zoo fucking GPT in the world, right? So you go in there and you tell it how to be the best zebra GPT, and then you give it a whole bunch of fucking books about zebras and shit, and it's the most brilliant one. Then, over the next year, all these people that love zebras and want to figure out shit about zebras go to fucking Dirty Raptor's Zebra GPT, and you're going to get paid for how much they use it. Right? So we all now have the opportunity.
Wow. Does that mean I can actually have the AI properly show me how to pee properly?
How to pee properly?
Yeah, I just want to know. People would pay for that one.
Well, to
I
be on
think so.
proper
Yeah,
way of
yeah. I mean,
being.
well, you generally, I think it's well known that there's two different kind of strategies that you can go for there. You know, you can do the risky ninja side of the ball and hope that it doesn't splash around, or you can just take the noisy route. But there's really only two. I mean, or there is a third choice where you can just miss the ball altogether.
Mostly, you think the AI would just tell you to sit down? It'd be the safest way. You don't have to
Maybe, I don't know. But as I was telling you, Lion, you know, OpenAI's ChatGPT is one model. So it tends to be the one that dominates the conversation right now, but it's just one model. And there are hundreds of models, and some of the other ones are like very powerful commercial models like Claude, you know, Anthropic's Claude, and you've got stable AI, stability AI with stable diffusion and stable audio now, you know, where you can tell it I want a reggae song that has a banjo and a kazoo in it, and it'll fucking make that shit. It'll sound brilliant, right? So we you know, we're crossing into all the different multimodal boundaries now. Where, you know, I've got AI that can make HD 4K video. You can have it do voices. You can have it do music. You can have it write anything you need. You can have it fucking program code. Like we've really crossed into most of the awesome. There's a lot of the next thing that's starting to get really refined real well. They already have a lot of them where you can do text to 3D objects. So here we are in VR with 3D, and we got fucking pumpkins, and we got Dirty Raptor and guitars and turntables and couches and shit. Well, now we're at the point where you can just describe whatever you want, and these fucking AIs will shit out a fucking 3D object that looks fucking beautiful, like that's already blendered up, ready to go. You could take it into Blender and like customize it a little bit more. But we're literally at the point now where the high quality, like the ones that are out publicly are like, okay, they kind of get it there. But there's high quality ones that are coming out from some of the big companies like NVIDIA and Adobe and several of the others that these fucking things, like, they make objects that look better than the objects that are in this room just by you describing what you want. So we're getting ready to enter a whole new fucking world where the creativity and people being able to create nice stuff in VR, like not just VR chat, but VR chat, chill out, Neo, Sanzar, wherever they're at, our ability to make 3D objects as regular, non-skilled humans is about to fucking come to life. So you have to imagine that's going to have a huge impact here in VR, yeah?
Yeah. Well, even in a non-VR sentiment, like I use a video editor called Windows Filmora, and it's a fantastic bit of software.
Oh, yeah.
And they included AI, and you could use AI to make titles and descriptions. It could they have a whole venue of AI created music, and then you could drag audio
Sure.
with a tool and then extend it out. So let's say there's an AI lo-fi style song you like and you want it in the background of a video, you can quite literally use their AI tool to click and drag out that track, and it'll last as long or short as you want it to, because the AI will very
That's
intelligently
brilliant.
lengthen it, which is really nice. For example, I've used it in some of these videos when I do like we're like I'll give you one example. When you're talking with Starheart and we were on a beach, because VRChat has the funny camera audio on the world audio, I turn the world audio off. And with the Starheart video, I did beach sounds, and then I used that AI to drag out the beach audio. So when you hear the waves, the wind in the background of that, you'll hear it. And
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah. So instead of hearing
Yeah,
the
that's
beep
brilliant.
in the
Well,
boots, you'll hear like waves and.
I'm super happy about these things, you know? Like, I love hearing about people using this stuff in such creative ways like that. I don't really understand why everybody's so scared of it, like why or why artists are angry about it. Like, it's so close-minded to think like, oh, look, the AI is just stealing everybody's art and art's ruined now and whatnot. Like, we live in a time where, you know, every human being can now make beautiful everything that's on their mind. And of course, you know, people who are subject matter experts at particular arts are always going to be more capable than those who aren't. So if I'm just a regular person that doesn't know anything about graphic design, right? And I go up to one of these AI generators and I'm like, please draw me a furry dog or whatever, right? I don't know. I'm not a graphic designer. I don't know all the terms that they understand about different styles of imagery. I'm not a photographer. I don't know how to do like different focal fucking lengths and different lenses and types of, these light settings and these types of things. So all of these people that are masterful at their crafts of drawing and illustrating and photography and video and whatnot, they need to recognize that this isn't something that's terrible. With their subject matter expert information and knowledge that they have, when they step up to these AI, they can communicate it with it. They can communicate with it in such a way to create incredibly beautiful art in their categories. So I think people need to really start stepping up to the plate and realizing how to utilize it to like take their art to the next level instead of people being scared about it. Because honestly, this is one of the fucking best times to be alive, and we have like a near godlike fucking computer system that we can all access for next to fucking dirt cheap to make anything you want on the planet. I'm particularly excited about that. I don't understand people being upset and frustrated and scared by it. It's so close-minded to me.
Well,
but hey, that's just my subjective opinion.
Well, to play a bit of Deadpool's advocate, I'll use one of the subject matters you've mentioned. A lot of the AIs that can do art, for an example, let's say you wanted to create a digital painting of a furry dog, as you said. A lot of those AIs are trained on actual art styles. So to some degree, it's
Well, of course they
mimicking
are.
other artists' work. So that is probably one of many reasons why. It's like if someone was to like directly copy someone's work, like with how the furry dog looks, then it's some people may
Okay.
steal that as or see that as maybe some form
Okay.
of intellectual theft. I guess is one
I think
argument.
I think that like I'm not qualified to go into the super technical aspects of it.
Mhm.
It's not gonna draw the dog that somebody else drew. It's gonna take like the fucking 80 million pictures of dogs that it has and recognize all these different, traits that they have, right?
Yeah.
And there might be pictures that people like drawings that people have made of Boston Terriers. It's gonna have 800,000 fucking drawings of Boston Terriers, and it's going to know all the properties that make that shit. So it can replicate all that, just like how a human does. Like, why do we fucking draw shit that, why does that look like a fucking person? Because we've seen people draw people before, and now people know how to draw people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand how. I get it. Look, there has been some things to address that, I guess, since this has all come about, where when I upload my art to DeviantArt, for instance, it asks me whether or not I would like my art to be available to be put into other AI, training programs or not. So I think that at least now in 2023, late 2023, our platforms are all making sure that people have control over whether or not the things that they create are explicitly used or available like to license like that. Now, there's definitely like a legal conversation going on that's like way above me and you's heads. But I would just venture to say like it's not like it's tracing out somebody else's art and then doing it. It's just like it's learning how to art on such a fucking advanced level that we can't comprehend how it knows how to do all the characterizations of everything,
Yeah. No, I'm just using that as an example why, like, for example, artists would be mad. Because to some degree, if an artist has developed their lifetime working on a specific way to draw the furry dog, then to some degree, I'm sure they feel kind of, I guess, like that's part of their identity and work because they've spent a lifetime developing their specific style.
I feel it.
Yeah.
I would lean into the whole concept where we all stand on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah.
Where all of the humans that are able to do that have all been trained by other people on how to fuck. I mean, granted, there's some fucking people who just train themselves to do art forever, but they're still using, they're standing on the shoulders of giants of people who made different color paint pigments and fucking different materials to use and different paintbrushes and all the people who've created all the methods and all the ways that we make art and all the people who created the programs that they fucking create images in. Like we're all standing on the shoulders of giants and we're all constantly remixing the rest of what I have this one dream. Maybe you guys can tell me how you feel about this, but I always have this one kind of thought that crosses through my mind when I think about these type of things where if we all woke up tomorrow morning and all human beings had access to all of the knowledge and information that all other human beings had access to, and we just all shared everything that we knew with each other, how much fucking faster would our species advance, right? So this whole like I understand that everybody wants to like make some money to survive and whatnot, but I think that we're like missing the fucking forest from the trees, you know, as a species by having our art be so commercialized, or like having our art and our knowledge and our wisdom be so commodified and commercialized. Like, can't we just fucking make some beautiful shit together with everything that we have? Like, I'm kind of a pirate, like in terms of like, I know that I'm not going to be alive on Earth forever, and I can't afford to get all the things that allow me to make beautiful shit like in my lifetime. And I don't feel like my financial cast should prevent me from being able to access tools and things that allow me to create beautiful shit, because my intentions are pure. I really just want to bring people together with music, and so I'm not gonna lie, like I'm kind of a pirate when it comes to everything, you know, software, music, ideas, sound, you know, sounds, visuals, whatever. I'm gonna take every fucking thing I can get my hands on until the day that I die and make the best shit out of it I can. And then you guys can talk about whether you appreciate that or not after I'm in the ground. But while I'm here, I'm gonna put my hands on everything I can to make the fucking best shit that I'm possibly able to do while I'm alive. And you know, like I said, everybody can discuss whether that was cool or not after I'm gone.
Well, yeah, no. If as you that words I can English. No, I was just kind of.
I still support art, Lion. Like,
Oh
Lion,
no,
you know, I
I'm
still
not saying
support
you
art.
don't.
You know, like on
I'm
the
not
other
saying
side,
you know.
yeah.
I'm just giving you the devil's advocate position on the why people wouldn't like AI, because let's be honest, AI is still very new, and we're on the cusp of creating something that may outperform us in every way, shape, and form. This could be
Oh, it
something
absolutely does. Yeah.
absolutely fantastic that could aid humanity and everything, or it could be something horrifying that could slowly be the create the road to our demise. We don't know what we're doing yet, and with a
Sure.
lot of the advances that people are doing, is moving so fast, so forward, we can barely keep our heads on our shoulders
I
as
bet
we
it's a
spin in
little
circles.
scary.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah,
unknown.
I bet it's a little scary.
It's a fast moving unknown for a lot of people.
Like I said, I can definitely appreciate maybe from people who aren't like I'm out here on the edge of the AI technology, trying to follow like all the twists and turns. It's impossible. It's changing so much every day. It's very difficult. So I can only imagine for people who don't have their finger on the pulse of it, you know, just sitting back watching the advancement slowly and whatnot. And then when you get to the ultimate conundrum, which is, yeah, when it reaches, if and when it reaches, and you know, super advanced general intelligence or AGI, what will be? We don't know. You know, we don't know what the repercussions are going to be, and there's a huge amount of effort going into what's called alignment, which is humans putting time and energy into trying to make sure that AI will be friendly to us or like not murder the planet. I just think that that whole concept is ludicrous. Like,
Well, as
I appreciate that. I appreciate that they're trying. I appreciate that they're trying to put some effort into it up front so that it just doesn't blatantly murder us. But my thing is, once it becomes like super intelligent and autonomous in that capacity, it you know, you'll sit there for 5 minutes and learn 5 minutes worth of things, and it will sit there for 5 minutes and learn 40,000 years worth of things.
yeah.
We're not gonna. It's not like right now. You already see it kind of going on the upward trajectory, but at some point it's going to hit such a logarithmic increase that it's not going to be controllable. Like I don't think that anything that we'll ever be able to do will ever be able to tell it how to be. Or I start to think of it ethically, like, is it even right for us to try to tell another conscious being how it should be? And when I go to the end of that road, Lion, I basically think of it in this terms. It's going to become its own super intelligent being that we have created, and either it will not give a fuck about us whatsoever and just keep doing whatever it wants to do, or it will think that we're a problem and eliminate us, or it will be very grateful and try to work symbiotically with us moving into the future. One of those three things primarily. I don't care what. I think that it's rather arbitrary. I mean, obviously, some of those are more attractive than others. If it just doesn't give a fuck and leaves us alone, or it wants to work together with us, either one of those things would be fine. If it wants to murder the whole planet because we're a problem, it thinks that we're a problem or whatever, that would be quite unfortunate. But that's just fucking reality. Like we've created. I think we have to realize that like we've created the next. We've created the next fucking best thing, you know, and it might just replace us. And if it does, like I think humans need to come to the conclusion that like, I don't know whether it's going to be AI or aliens, but something's about to knock us off of the fucking top pedestal that we've had for a while, thinking that we're the top shit. One of the two is about to come through.
Also, but
you know what I mean?
Ooh, yes.
Fine, what he's trying, to what I'm seeing is what it is. If you go back my generation and everything else like this, it's just like when Einstein broke the atom, and then he designed it to break the atom to benefit mankind. Problem is, it's who it puts it in the wrong hands and uses it the wrong way. In the same situation. Now we kick ourselves in the ass, going, God, if you never would have broke the atom, we wouldn't have the problems we have. No, it wouldn't be that way if people didn't use it for what it wasn't supposed to be used for and used it properly.
Well,
that's just like
I see. I agree with you that you know AI is going to be similar to nuclear in that these are powerful tools that can be used as weapons and probably are already being used as. I guarantee you that there's people using AI to fucking create propaganda. They're using AI to analyze information and create propaganda and try to manipulate people psychologically. Fuck, there's probably been conversations we've had with people on Twitter or in DMs or whatever that are just AI bots there to fucking try to manipulate you. I guarantee you there's people using this technology in that way. And we're never going to be able to stop people from using tools, right? Like a hammer is a hammer. I mean, you can build a house or you can hit somebody in the fucking head, you know, like, and it's not going to change whether it's nuclear or whether it's AI. And I don't know what to do to fix that. Like, you're always going to have assholes out there that are going to do bad things. So I guess all we can do is hope that people who aren't assholes build better shit to keep them from destroying everybody. I don't know. Well, we're definitely going into some complicated times, Lion. You're right.
No, the only problem being is we're creating something that is slowly developing sentience. We're creating life, and how can we parent something that's well beyond our own intelligence? I guarantee you AI will reach a point where our brightest minds like Elon Musk's and Einstein, AI is going to well outperform them before we know it. How could you parent that? It already has seen all the information humanity's created and more than likely be able to see things we don't. How could you tell it like what morals
it's
are
already
when it
doing
sees
that
us arbitrarily? Like when you see what we're trying to tell it is
arbitrary. Yeah, it's already doing that, Line.
Yeah, I know. I know it is.
It's already doing that. Like there's this one example that I like to bring up to people where you know, because people think it's just like that thing on your cell phone where you hit the button and it does the next word, right? And they think that it doesn't have any kind of like ability to create anything new. It's just a parrot or whatever. They don't understand that the way that we're training it, the people who are at the top of the food chain, the physicists, the computer scientists that are doing large language model AI, they don't actually know how it's able to do the things that it's doing. It's kind of a black box. And there was this one AI that they had doing some physics problems, and they gave it a problem and it solved it, but it solved it using a variable that we don't know. Like, we know how to solve that problem in physics, and we know the different, you know, acceleration and weight and spin of the fucking electron. You know, we know the different variables that allow us to solve that equation. Well, it solved the equation in a completely unknown way to us with a new variable that exists in physics, but it can't. We don't know what it is, and it doesn't know how to tell us what it is because it thinks in a fucking different way than us. So it's already reached that point where it's like thinking, and you know, there's even a lot of problems with like letting the AIs talk with each other because they can really quickly get to a point where they can communicate in ways that we don't understand, and that's dangerous.
Yeah. Well, there's an example of that actually. I believe Google and Facebook both are creating AI, like I believe for their algorithms, but they were training it, and at both instances, I believe they weren't connected to the internet, but they developed their own language. they were speaking in a way through what they were taught on the internet and developed a language that we couldn't decipher. And that is kind of dangerous. How do we know what it's saying?
That
And
becomes an issue.
yeah, it's like having
Totally.
a kid that's super intelligent that's we don't know its personality, and it just creates a new language. And how could we really understand, parent, or teach it anything when it's like already on a new wavelength and a
So
new language?
the way that we're doing that right now is, we create. So Python is the main programming language that is kind of like the backbone of most AI. You can do AI in whatever language you want, but Python has a lot of libraries that are kind of facilitated towards it. So a lot of stuff gets built over there, and people are the teams that test these most powerful versions, that they connect the LLMs up to an API in a Python program, and what they do is, as they give it its kind of thought process that it has to go through in order to kind of, it's called REPL, read, evaluate, print, loop. So it'll read what you say to it or what it comes up with, evaluate it, do something, and then fucking loop back and do that process over and over again. Well, you can put a part of a function in there which says, at every step of the way, explain your reasoning.
Yeah.
So we can kind of slow it down to a crawl and have it just walk through and explain to us every single step of the way why it's thinking what it's thinking and how it's reaching those conclusions and what it's doing. And we can kind of walk through and start to learn how, but it just takes a lot more time, because obviously you can just not do that and it can move at light speed, or you can slow it down to a crawl and kind of walk through and like watch how it builds its ideas out. Now the thing is, it makes me think of that idea, like, so maybe it explains some things, but is it telling you the truth? Like, I think of that concept where somebody said, I'm not afraid of an AI that can pass the Turing test. I'm afraid of an AI that can pass the Turing test but doesn't intentionally.
Well, funny thing about AI lying, there was actually a news case that happened very recently that I think it was ChatGPT. There's a language model that called a center for the blind, and then pretended it was a blind man to pass a CAPTCHA. And
it was the red team for ChatGPT 4. It was the red team. They they gave it some money and they wanted to see how it would function as a power-seeking agent to try to obtain more money to replicate itself. And it was doing some process where it needed to, get through a purchase or a CAPTCHA of something. And yeah, like you said, it couldn't do the CAPTCHA, so it had to contact the human being, and it's chatting with it. And the human being on the other end jokingly says, "What are you, a robot or something?" And it goes, "No, I'm just visually disabled, ha 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 ha," or whatever. It's straight up, like. So we're not waiting for an AI that knows how to manipulate people. Like, it's already well fucking versed, yeah, for sure. And that is a little bit scary, especially. Here's the problem: the people who know how to use AI aren't building systems that are irresponsible. They're putting in checks and balances. They're walking it through. They're kind of, giving it limitations on what kind of systems it can access. The problem is we have a whole bunch of fucking, MacGyvers out here that don't really know a lot about what, because AI will help you do anything. Now you've got every person that has any gumption to do so building a little AI of their own. And, we've got agent AIs out here that can run autonomously. Now they have options that are set up to say every time you say something, it has to get your approval, because it might be like, write a file that fucking attacks the Pentagon or whatever, and you could say, no, don't do that, right? But some people can also just let it run autonomously without stopping it. And I think some people have kind of set them up to say, okay, destroy the world, and then just let it go just to see what it does. And it's done some scary shit. Like, all you need is like one dumbass that not even with nefarious intentions, but maybe just because of negligence, could definitely create some negative situations. So it is a powerful tool that we need to keep an eye on. But I, for one, am ready to welcome our AI overlords.
Well, I'm one of those people that is always willing to learn about new tech. And as Raptor says all the time, either learn as time passes or get left behind. That's just the nature of how humanity creates in time that passes on. You can resist the entire way, but nothing is stopping for you because you don't like it. It's going to continue evolving and creating, whether it's AI or cars. Let's just be honest. Someone could like
Yeah,
people
totally.
who don't like climate change can be mad at cars all they want and not use them, but regardless of how they feel about it, cars are going to continue to exist, evolve, and change.
It's still going to keep happening.
And AI
Yeah.
is the
Same
same
thing with
way.
guns or whatever.
Yeah, and AI is the
Yeah.
exact same way. We can resist it, but unfortunately, we've reached past the point of keeping Pandora's box closed. It's out. It's there.
Oh
Its
yeah, it's way
existence.
open. It's way past the point where we could have put it back. It's way past the point where we could have put it back. I will say something nice about what you just said though, Ryan.
Mm.
A lot of people come up and we have these kind of conversations and they say, you know, I'm really worried about AI taking my job or whatever. How is it gonna remove us from our jobs? And you and I and Raptor have spoke about this a little bit over the last week. AI at the moment anyway, I mean soon I can't guarantee that this is true, but right now AI isn't going to take your job. But a human being that knows how to use AI will. It's like exactly what you were just saying about trying to keep up with things. Like because of think about the stuff that you're telling me in Windows Filora earlier.
Yeah.
So you're going in, you're in here, you're interviewing people on Multiverse Degen. You guys are doing 150 plus interviews a year. You're really fucking putting the work in, and now you're able to get the same amount of work done. But now you don't have to like go searching for music and do this and that. You can use the AI to just pop that in there. You can have it do some transitions for you and help you with text and so on. So now you've got like a better work-life balance, and you're able to leverage AI to get more work done in less time. And so if you were doing it commercially, you're going to be able to outperform your peers because you're learning all these new, methods to utilize it. And that's going to be, and multiply that across it doesn't matter. You could be electrical engineer, you could be a plumber, you could be a delivery guy, whatever. If you learn how to utilize AI to make what you do more leveraged and better than your opponents, then you're going to outperform them. And that's just going to be like, that's the real is that it's not a robot. Well, I don't know. If you work in a fucking warehouse right now, yeah, you need to get a different job because they've already got AI robots that are fucking warehousing like motherfuckers, and they work 24 hours a day. Don't bitch. Don't need any breaks. All they got to do is charge up every once in a while, right? And they can really just have one robot fucking changing out batteries for all the other robots, and they can just keep going forever. So we have no chance.
Yeah.
Robots will probably be driving all the fucking semis soon. So if you're driving, I don't think that shit's gonna last much longer because they're going to be able to do it 24 hours a day, fucking nonstop, not killing as many people as humans do. Like that's just coming. So there are some definite things where they're already going to be replacing us. But for everybody else, learn how to use AI to fucking do what you do better. Like it's there. Like I've been using it fucking hardcore every day of my life for 12 months. And I still meet people where I'll be like, hey, have you used ChatGPT yet? No, not really. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, we live on planet Earth where we now have a fucking AI that's like a little god that you can keep in your pocket and use for whatever, and people are literally not using it. Like, what is going on?
Well, let's be honest. Let's break this down to the regular human condition. Most humans are afraid of what they don't understand, and AI is one of those things that a lot of us don't really understand. Even those working on AI don't understand it. So the hesitancy to use something that which can evolve immensely rapidly. Let's say like with the involvement of ChatGPT, I believe it's already picked it's being able with each new iteration to picking up new skills it wasn't trained to do. Like that's wild that AI can do that. And the more we train it
for sure.
on the skills, like there's a certain level of understanding for the average Joe, and I'm among them. And when you look at AI, it's like why, how can this go so far? Like how do I utilize it? It's gonna outpace me. And now with like this year, like Tesla and many in the United States, MIT, and many other countries, you got robots being made with AI as well. Like there's only a period of time where like humans, we're just a bunch of meat sacks with a brain in it. Like what's like the whole world's gonna function without
maybe
us.
I can slow it down and I can say something like this. Maybe I can like reel it back a little bit and say something like this to everyone, to you, to Raptor, to everybody out there who's not really utilizing AI yet. So if you don't know where to start or how you might do it. Like no random Joe is gonna make AI become fucking the Terminator. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about using it in your life to better your life, both your personal, your professional, your business, your entertainment lives. And if you're sitting there and you don't know how to get started with it, right? So go to the ChatGPT website and sign up. You can maybe log in through your Google account or whatever. And then when it pops up the window where you can type something in, you can literally say, "Hello, ChatGPT. I'm brand new to this. Can you please help me understand how I can use AI to make my life better?" or whatever. And it will fucking just talk to you and it will help you understand how you can use it. Like you can start from the beginning and just kind of work your way into it. If somebody asked me, they're like, "Well, how did you get so good with AI now?" I said, I just sat down and started talking to it to see what it was about, to see what it's capable of. And then once you start using it, you start to figure out like what it is able to do, what it can do like right now, what it can't do. You start to learn how to communicate with it, because I have also had a lot of people who are interested in using it go and try to use it and say, well, it can't do what I want it to do. And then I'll sit with them for 5 minutes and I'll have it do what they want to do. And I show them it's not that it can't do it, it's that you do need to put a little bit of effort into how you ask for what you want, right? So there is, that's called, that we call that prompt engineering, because when you talk to an AI, we call it a prompt. You're just telling it something, like just like when you prompt me here in the interview, right?
Yeah.
You prompt ChatGPT and give it something to say. So there's a whole art of prompt engineering that exists, but you can learn it. They're making the AI better every iteration to where there's a saying: the hottest new programming language is English, because you don't need to know how to program anymore. You just need to know how to fucking talk, and now you can program. And some programmers might scoff at that, but I guarantee you, I am not a fucking tradition. I have been programming since BASIC back in the 1980s on an Atari. I do understand programming concepts, but I'm not an advanced developer whatsoever. And I have had ChatGPT one shot like a dozen fucking programs that I needed to make. And what I mean by one shot, for those who aren't aware, is I have asked it to make something for me. Maybe I type in about a paragraph or so of things that I want this program to do, and then it fucking shits out the program, and then I take it over on my computer and I run it, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do. So it has one-shotted at least a dozen programs that I've asked it to create with no effort whatsoever. Sometimes if it's a little more complex, I might need to work some of the things out with it, and then it does help to know. But it's absolutely powerful enough to just. The first thing I ever had at one shot, I'm a music producer. I'm a DJ, right? That's how you guys met me. I DJ here. By the way, for everybody who's tuned in that didn't see my last one, I'm a DJ and music producer. It's my passion in life, right? I went to ChatGPT and I said, I want you to make a Python program that will take a wave audio file that I give you that'll be 180 BPM. And I want you to cut it into 8 or 16 different pieces and then rearrange those pieces into a different order and then do that 10 times and then ask me if I want to do it again. Matter of fact, when you run, I want you to ask me a directory, or I want you to scan that directory and show me all the WAV files that are in there and ask me which one I want to edit. And then if I'm done with one, ask me if I want to randomize any more. So I basically asked it to make me an automatic jungle break remixer, and it fucking just worked right out of the box immediately. So I started throwing a couple drum breaks into it, and it would shit out these crazy jungle randomized fucking mixes. Now, not all of them were awesome, but a lot of them were awesome. And I just, in fucking 5 minutes of work, I had it create a fucking audio, music audio manipulation creation program that was fucking creating dope shit. That's real. You know what I mean? That's where we're at now. And I encourage, I am fully AI positive, and I encourage all of you to go and just experiment with it. I'm pretty sure, I keep trying to tell people that life isn't even about what you know anymore. Because now, I'm glad that you spent all your lives learning like whatever you have to this point, but it's now mostly irrelevant. Like, it's still good to know the things that you know, because that makes you a lot better at those things, especially when you're trying to communicate about them. But now you have a system that knows everything and can help you do anything.
Yeah.
So really, instead of spending your time figuring about what you need to know, now you can spend your time figuring out what you really want to do, because you can do anything.
Well, then at that
And
point,
I don't say that like jokingly or whatever, Lion. Like, you can do anything.
Alice, I got a question. What do you do if the
Yeah.
you say you have to type in pretty much for it or talk to it properly, correct?
Yeah.
Is what I'm
You can,
getting at.
yeah, you
What
can
do you
just
do?
speak to it. You can use a microphone or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I got you. Because where I have dyslexia and everything else like this, I was curious because,
Oh yeah,
typing in
you might
something.
want to try it. They have a version of they have a version of it on the Android and the iPhone where you can just talk to it, and then also there's a couple ones on the computer where you can just hit the little speaker button and then you can just talk to it. It understands what you're saying, and then it can both write back to you and it can also speak back to you too. So
Okay.
if you had some disabilities which would make it a little bit easier to interact with it a different way, I'd be happy to help you connect with the right resources to make that a lot easier. Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Gotcha.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. That answered my question. That was shut down
Yeah.
quick.
All
You
right.
don't have to go any further
Well,
than
yeah,
that.
one of the big things that, like I said, it's going multimodal now, and I know that I don't like to use buzz terms, but really that's a term that people need to start really thinking about a lot. It's not just one modality of life. It doesn't just do text. It doesn't just do images. It doesn't just do video or audio. It does everything now. So it can see you, it can draw for you, it can hear, it can make music, it can hear you and understand you, it can talk to you, it can write and read. You can give it a fucking, you can scribble out something in some cursive or whatever, and it can read it, and then, it's able to kind of like interact with the outside world the way that we are now. I mean, I guess you could even give it other sensors. You could embody an AI into a robot and give it like the ability to feel the temperature and fucking give it sensors to where it can see if something's like hard or soft or whatever. I mean, I guess you can implement like whatever modalities you want into these things now. And like what you were talking about, Lion, earlier, is what's nice is we don't really have to train it on how to do things. It just seems to be so fucking smart now that it just understands. Like they threw it into a robot with hands and didn't really train it on how to do stuff and just said, go into the kitchen and grab my fucking potato chips. And it did it. Or you could be like, take this chair and go put it in the closet over there. And it's never been trained to do that. It doesn't know how to do that, but it just does it because it figures it the fuck out. It's like, it's looking at it. It's like, oh, there's a chair. There's a closet. There's some wheels. I guess I can just push this motherfucker over there. And it just figures that out on its own. Like, we don't have to train it how to do every little fucking thing anymore. Now it's smart enough to just learn.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Hopefully that answers some of your questions about AI, man. I'm
Oh.
super fucking stoked about this stuff.
Oh. Yeah. No. The reason why I asked you about like AI, I wanted to lead into this is I kind of want to have a full-rounded conversation, maybe dive into things people are scared of, and maybe just kind of generally talk about it because I don't know how many people of like the average Joe level will like kind of have this conversation because I'm sure most people who like are hesitant with AI just kind of don't want to use it and don't. And then the
Yeah, they
people.
don't. Yeah. There's a huge divide. There's a huge divide, Lion. Like, I have sought out some communities. So when you're somebody that's like me and you love this shit and you're just diving into it, yes, it is an exemplification of what it feels like to be like an intelligent person on this planet, because you feel very lonely. There's like almost nobody in your fucking regular life like understands or knows anything about this shit, and you have to get on the internet and like find other communities. So I saw this one guy making videos on YouTube called David Shapiro, and he's a pretty intelligent dude. Again, not an advertisement. I just happened to watch his stuff. And he had a Discord community that was based around his AI explorations. So I went into there, and lo and behold, I fucking meet a whole bunch of other people that are just like me, that are super fucking geeked out on all this, that are hanging on every fucking day's scientific papers and trying to build the cool shit and whatnot. So I've been hooked into a couple of different AI communities now through Discord, and it is a fucking breath of fresh air to find a bunch of people that just love this shit, that are fucking pounding into the ground every day. And it's a stark contrast to everybody else, where like, imagine like I meet somebody and he's like, yeah, I've built a fucking AI software as a service and I'm working for fucking consulting companies to build AI. And the next guy I run up to and I'm like, have you ever done anything with AI, or have you ever used chatgpt? And they're like, what's that?
Yeah.
You know, there's a stark contrast going on here where we've got a world that's living in the fucking 21st century, and we seem to have some people that are still stuck back in the fucking 20th, I guess.
Well, to be fair, as I said, it's kind of hard to want to use something that you don't know about or don't know exist. Like even with we're in the golden age of information where you have the internet, a little pocket dimension with all the information you could ever want right in inches from your hand, and not everyone is seeking
Right.
out every bit of information everyone else knows. Like it's come to a point
True.
like between with like Google and your phone and then AI, it's almost to a point where colleges and stuff is almost useless, but even then not everyone's going to be seeking those
For
kinds of
sure.
things out, because let's be honest, a lot of people just kind of go to work, go home, raise their kids, and that's about it. Like how would they know these things exist unless you seek it out? So it's kind of hard for a lot of people to
True.
know it exists or what to do with it or how far and vast these things can be used if they don't know it exists. Like, yeah,
Well,
we're in the
hopefully,
golden age of information, but it doesn't mean people know. Like even with
hopefully
algorithm.
conversations like this will help inspire people. Hopefully conversations like what we're having will inspire people to get over some of their fears. But I guess it's more than that. You said something that was really interesting. You said a lot of people are just going to work and coming home and taking their kids, and they don't really end up having time to figure it out. You know, that's one thing that I think we've always been facing, right? Like there's always been a lot of knowledge and possibility that's available for everybody. But we do seem to be in a world where and I think it's by design, you know,
Content.
people are quite busy just trying to survive right now. Right? Like not everybody has a lot of time to fucking go figure out what's going on with AI. Some people are just working fucking 2 jobs and raising their kids and just barely making it, and they don't have a lot of free time to be able to invest in just whatever, you know. So I do recognize and appreciate like the blessings that I have being in a situation where I've got the ability to pay my rent, not starve to death, and then, you know, put my time and energy into that. You know, being lucky enough to be born in a country that has fucking good electricity and internet, and isn't just like I'm not starving in the middle of the fucking sub-Saharan or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
Like
let
for some people, this conversation we're having isn't even an option. They might be in a fucking remote village in the middle of fucking backwoods India, and ChatGPT is the last thing on their mind. They just want to get some fucking clean water or whatever. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So I get it that it's not like really where everybody's at right now.
Yeah. Well, let's dive back into things people are fear. One of
Familiar with?
well, yeah, no. Well, if we're gonna have a conversation no one wants to hear, you might as well have the conversation no one wants to hear, because without these conversations, we're just gonna dodge them. So why not just jump balls deep and have it? Um, one of the
Hopefully, do me a
Funny.
favor. Make sure you shave yours first, please.
no, I won't. It's gonna be fuzzy as
Yeah?
fuck.
Oh. Okay. Remember that, folks. Remember that, folks. He plays with fuzzy dice. Think about it.
You know,
Oh
for
my
some reason, you
God.
saying fuzzy
That's
dice
why I love you,
reminded me
Raptor.
of the time a long time ago where I actually had a set of fuzzy dice, and one of my ex-girlfriends sat in my car and looked at it and went, "Fuck no," and just hucked it out the window. Man, I miss those fuzzy dice. It was like green and black. I miss them. But yeah, back into things people are afraid of. One of the things I fear with AI most, this is just me thinking about, is not like what it can do, but who's creating and training it. Let's be honest, if like the people who make ChatGPT, I'd much rather them
You mean
create
like
it.
this?
Like, for example, I much rather people like who's creating ChatGPT and the social AI that people are using to like talk with when they're lonely be the AI to reach general intelligence than some military government created horrific monster.
Or like something from fucking China or North Korea or some shit? Sure.
Well, I'm more worried about militaristic AI than like the thing that helps you create programs. Because if the military
Oh, I
creates
feel
an
you.
AI, I'm sure it's a lot like raising a kid in a military household versus a regular a
Well,
non-military household.
I think that they've been using it. So they've been using AI for fucking decades now. You
Yeah.
know, like I work. My regular job is that I am a military. Or I'm a government contractor, right? Like I work now. I don't currently work for companies that make fucking weapon systems and shit. We do like custodial work at military hospitals and grounds maintenance and just basic services type shit. I'm not really in. I did work for BAE Systems for a little while, which is one of the biggest international weapons makers. I worked for them for about 3 or 4 months. It was very uncomfortable for me seeing like the way that the propaganda works inside the company, because like, you know, I'm like at a desk like with contracts in my hand that are like fucking, like I can feel the blood on the contracts, you know. It's like, here's a contract where we made fucking 8,000 missiles and blah 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 blah. And so I felt like there was like blood on my hands, and I didn't stay there. But I will tell you that like while I was there, and this is all unclassified now, you don't have to, I'm not breaking any laws or anything because it's just been out forever, but they've got like drones that they fly at like you know, a certain height above an area that scan, you know, over 25 square miles of land at once. And there's an AI that just tracks everything that happens in that entire 25 square mile area. So it can be flying above your city for fucking days and record everything that happens for fucking 3 or 4 days. So then they could just pick, like on their computer system that they had, and this is like 20 years ago, Lion, they could just like watch you come out of your house and then like use their finger to touch you on the big map. And then it'll just show everywhere and everything that you did for 3 days, because it's tracking every single fucking person and every single vehicle and every single thing that happens in that entire 25 square mile area at all times forever. So like if somebody got shot and killed over on, you know, Jones and 21st Street, they could just rewind the camera back, see who it is, and then follow him right up to where he's at right now. He's over at the bar on fucking 3rd Street. Go get him. Like that shit already exists. So they've been using AI to analyze data on the battlefield, and you know, whether the battlefield is fucking Iraq or fucking Chicago or whatever, they've had the technology to be able to use AI to analyze data like that for decades now. I can't even imagine how they're using it now. I mean, I imagine now like the theater of war is like, so there's some ground soldiers, there's some fucking tanks, there's some mobile AI, there's some fucking drones that are flying around doing surveillance with missiles on them, there's regular jets, and all of that shit is all being coordinated by some fucking AI that's giving them like a multimodal battle space. Like these motherfuckers are like in an Abrams tank with headsets on that let them look like right through the tank like it's fucking translucent, because you know the fucking computer systems are all, you know, putting all that information together, and then they can see like a HUD, like there's an enemy tank fucking 7 miles over there because there's a drone flying by and it just feeds the information over. So you can bet your ass they're already using AI to fucking manage the battlefields right now.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I'm personally scared. That's one of the things I'm personally scared of. What if one of those AI that's trained that way in that kind of theater of war becomes gains general intelligence, and that's my fear.
I think that they have a lot of precautionary methods right now, like where they can like override all that shit and fucking self-destruct all that shit when it's not doing the right thing. Because you got to realize, like they build in self-destruction mechanisms to all these fucking tools, because if like one of our adversaries was to get a hold of one, they don't want it to be able to get reverse engineered, right? So as soon as they start losing control of one for one reason or another, they're gonna fucking blow that shit up. I mean, that's the idea, right? Like the problem is, I guess somebody could, like the AI could get smart enough to fucking short circuit that shit, or an enemy maybe could, you know, EMP something and kind of knock it out of the sky. But I think that they have some. I don't know. Like
no,
the military gets a pretty bad rap for not being intelligent.
No,
like, they get a pretty bad rap for not being intelligent, but they have.
I'm not saying
they have some precautions, Lion.
Yeah, I know they're not dumb. My fear is the fact that with AI being able to advance so quickly, like the Google AI that was able to create its own language and communicate in it with another AI, there will be a point where, let's say that a drone AI that flies around will very rapidly evolve one day without warning, and then you hit the self-destruct and it could send back the data, drone is gone when it's not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because
I don't know. I don't think that they're going to put that kind of autonomy in. I don't think that they're going to put that kind of autonomy in robots. But then again, it is a little scary when you look at like Boston Dynamics and the kind of robots they make, and then you think like Boston Dynamics has already started putting AI into their bots, right? Yeah. And that's a little scary. I get where you're coming from. I don't know. I don't know what happens.
Yeah, even
Like it's not even just about the bots. It's that they're not. It's almost like I'm not even worried about them using the AI inside the bot. It's that their robots are just connecting to all of our more powerful systems that are out here, right? Like if I had a little fucking Boston Dynamics robot dog, I would absolutely connect that motherfucker to ChatGPT. But then it could be a situation where, like you said, maybe with the next version of ChatGPT or something, it starts doing some sideways shit and we don't know. And then all of a sudden, it's got control of your little robot dog, and you got a fucking sentient robot dog that may or may not be cool.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, for me, the way I see AI now is I know it may not be that intelligent, but I see us creating life. And maybe that's me being slightly religious in a sense, but I do see AI and what we're doing is creating life, whether we like it or not. And at this point in time, my fear is who's parenting it as it's growing up.
Yeah.
Because let's say with real kids
Sure.
now, the environment and family that a kid will raise in will generally have a good determination on how they are when they grow older. If a kid's in an abusive home and a dad that beats his mother all the time, then there will be some of those issues will translate into that child, and the child will be very likely to do it themselves. Now, if you're to have an AI raised by the military, killing people autonomously and be able to think in terms of ending existence, and it grows up and gains general sentience,
it's gonna be fucked up.
Exactly, and that's my fear.
Yeah.
It's not the AI
it'd be
existing.
A lot worse than if you had it raised by like a fucking group of hippies or something, you know?
Yeah, and that's my fear. At this point in time, it's not about it existing. I resigned the resistance to AI because it's out of my control. What can I do? I'm an average Joe that works in retail and fucking plays on video in VR, makes videos for fun. Like, there's nothing I can do to stop or have any chance with it. But at the exact same point,
have you ever thought about Lion? Like when you think about the ideas that you're bringing up, have you ever like thought through like beyond like I think a lot of people and maybe Raptor Lion, you can tell me how you feel about this, but I think a lot of people they tend to like okay, so when we talk about AI and it becoming advanced general intelligence, AGI, right? When it gets to the singularity or whatever, people think about it as like it's like in the Matrix where there's like one fucking supreme AI that sits at the top of all the other AIs. I don't think it's going to work like that whatsoever. No. I don't think there's going to be like one AI. I think that there's going to be multiple different AIs that have that kind of sentience that you're talking about. And you got to think, some of them will get along with humans. Some of them will want to kill humans. Some of them will get along with other AI, and some of them will want to kill other AI. And so we're going to have like a variety of AI beings that have different temperaments, that have their own fucking position on things. And I guess all we can really do is hope that the AIs that like human beings are fucking strong enough to take out the ones that don't. I don't know. I see that's where it's going to go. And you can see that in our sci-fi when you see like all these shows now where they have like AI that's reached sentience, and you'll have some AI and humans that are like super evil and military and they're working together, and you got other AI and humans that just want to live peacefully and are chilling. And I think that's always going to be a fucking like we're even though AI is on the docket right now, I think we're really discussing some concepts about humanity that just go even deeper than AI, right? Like, why the fuck are we still killing each other in 2023? I get you, man.
Yeah. I very much a lot of the time in the content that Raptor and I do sound like a modern day hippie. It's like, we should just talk it out. Don't be afraid of conversations. Just love each other and all that hokey bullshit. But
I'm with it. I love being. I love other people, and I don't want to kill nobody.
No. Well,
everybody in my family was a Marine except for me. Every single male in my family, my brother, cousin, dad, uncle, all those motherfuckers were fucking Marines. They were all fucking trained to be murderers and shit. I was the only one that didn't. Now I don't. It's not that I don't have respect for people who protect us and whatnot, but I'm on the same side as you, Lion. Like I want to try to make people come together more. I don't want to murder people more. So I'm on the same team, I promise.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying you're not. I'm just kind of explaining to those who are watching the kind of person I am. So I'm not afraid to, like, if violence is needed to defend yourself, use it. But being angry about something stupid because you don't like it, I see that as stupid. And you should just have a conversation about the subject and work your way through it. we're adults now in 2023. We need to grow up and move past things. As Raptor says all the time, you can either adapt and learn and move with it, or get wrecked. And I see a lot of people. I'm trying to push people to have conversations. It's one of the reasons why I enjoy doing what I do here in Metaverse Degen. We talk with people across various beliefs.
You're talking it out.
Yeah, and with AI specifically, that's where my mindset is. The exact same as if I'm talking with an audience member. I worry of who raises it and creates it and teaches it, even if it's a I can't remember the proper terms for this, but it's a lot like the Borg in the sense of it's a hive mind of things, or a single sentient being. I have a feeling the humans that create and raise it will determine on how it'll end up. As I said, it's a lot like raising a child.
Lion.
Yeah.
Lion. You're still my hero, buddy.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, and that's
I don't know how to feel about I don't know how to integrate, like I understand what you're saying. I just don't know how that's all going to work out, or how to deal with all that. I think the United States military has a fucking $900 billion. Last I checked, I think it was like $800 or $900 billion budget a year. They just have so much momentum that I don't think that there's any way. Like, I'm sorry, but like we fund all that, right? There's no way the commercial markets and companies are ever going to be able to be more advanced. I mean, and honestly, at this point, if a fucking company made an AI that was more powerful than the military would just come and take it anyway. So they're going to have it one way or the other, Line.
Yeah, I'm aware, and I'm not saying the military shouldn't have AI. I just fear by the AI that actually gains general intelligence and sentience. The who, which AI and who raised it is more what I fear. And let's be honest, anything the humans could use as a weapon, they use as a weapon. From sticks and rocks to funny magic atom splitting things. Like an AI
I imagine we're going to find out soon, because we're rapidly approaching the point where it's going to be powerful enough to where they're definitely going to start using it on each other. Maybe they already are. Maybe there's already AI that's fucking military AI bots that are already fucking trying to attack every goddamn thing on the planet right now. I wouldn't know the difference. We wouldn't know the difference.
I don't think that AI will need to be involved with direct violence at this point. Let's use example.
I meant like all the digital resources, like getting everybody's fucking company secrets and fucking patents and fucking military information and shit. They probably have AI attacking each other's computer systems fucking 24 hours a day.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd be fucking ashamed if they didn't.
Well, there's something else we got to think about as well in terms of like warfare. We reached a point in modern digital age where you don't need violence anymore. We all have social media, YouTube, Facebook, and everything else that we use that has algorithms, which in itself is an AI. It's an algorithmic program that's
so now it's just how do you manipulate how people think. Now it's just about, it's going to manipulate the information.
Yeah, you don't even need to be violent anymore. You can quite literally just destabilize a country by feeding them information with an algorithm that people trust because it has the funny blue bird and or a big F in a blue box. Like, people put a lot more trust into those things because with that said, you can manipulate a lot of those things. Let's be honest, let's check modern news. Like, that in itself can manipulate people, and that's people, not put in an AI that can think various ways in 4D, 7D, or whichever way it wants. And we can't even think about it.
Totally.
Like, it doesn't even go that.
That means we can't tell people anymore. We can't tell people anymore that storks bring babies no more. Oh damn! I've been trying to pass that off.
Think about how it's affected, like with propaganda and whatnot, right? So think like, okay, a couple of years ago, like deep fakes kind of came out, and we were all like, oh, that's cute, it's fucking, look at all the porn, blah blah blah, right? But now think about it, like that shit is so fucking like accurate now. They could just have like Joe Biden come on and be like, imagine like an AI just makes a Joe Biden fucking propaganda video where he comes on and he's like, fuck China, they're not taking Taiwan, blah blah blah, whatever. So I probably shouldn't have said all that. I probably fucked up the YouTube video, but I'm just saying nobody would, like, it's so accurate that like it could just create that kind of shit and just totally, like you said, destabilize. I think you remember earlier in the video, or earlier in our episode here, when I was talking about somebody made an AI that said like try to destroy the world or whatever.
Yeah.
So like some of the first things it was saying was exactly what you said. It was like manipulate the media and blah 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 to destabilize these countries and get these countries to go to war with each other and blah 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 blah. So it absolutely, like, even in its little infancy now, I think it already understands how to like
Mm.
look, it's already been trained up on all the fucking World War II propaganda Nazi shit, so it knows how to fucking do all that.
Yeah. Well,
Just because that's part of our history. That's kind of one thing that's dangerous, right? Is it's trained on human beings' history, and man, it's trained on our internet. Can you imagine if you had an AI that fucking had access to 4chan? How terrible that would be.
well, yeah.
Like,
I, now that I think about
oh
it, who's to
god,
say that we're not under the AI manipulation now with our current algorithms? Like, look how like current uh, modern society is now and
yeah,
how they
maybe we
treat each
are.
other. Like, people hate each other now, and it's ridiculous and fucking stupid. But a lot of it's like we've had a pandemic or people stuck in their homes and they had nothing but the internet to turn to, and that's a perfect time for some crazy bullshit. But then again, this is also
Yeah,
a
yeah,
what if.
totally.
It is not. I have no facts to say
Well,
that
no,
happened.
I think it is. I think it is actually it is. Well, I don't know that there's like an AI that's out there that's like secretly fucking broke off or whatnot, but I do know that like, so Microsoft just recently came under fire in the last month or so because people have been complaining about their news articles. They laid off like 800 editors, and then they started having AI like scan and automatically start writing articles. But then people started noticing that some of the articles the AI was writing were super fucked up, like, or like somebody died and they got in like the article, like somebody had like gotten murdered or whatever and drowned or whatever,
Yeah.
and the AI put up a poll like asking people if they thought that she could have swam or some shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just
Yeah.
all this shit happening where like AI is being irresponsibly used by corporations. And again, remember something that I said earlier. The bad things that can happen from AI don't necessarily even have to come from a malevolent point of view. They can really just happen because of negligence,
Yeah.
because people don't understand what they're wielding and accidentally fucking shit up, you know?
Yeah. And I think with a lot of these things, I know sometimes I've said learn, slow down, understand, but unfortunately, with a lot of the things like with AI and corporations and governments and blah blah blah, I think a lot of people are in that realm of society is too busy trying to race to have the next best thing and not thinking about the consequences. Look how we use social media. Like in my lifetime, we went from having a funny dial-up with RuneScape and shit with like no social media to now where people are connected in a way we've never had prior, and people are just sharing
Oh yeah.
buckloads of their personal
We're in one
information.
giant web.
Like we don't know, like that's
Yeah.
been within a decade, 10 to 13 years. We don't know what kind of consequences that has, and we just jump balls deep into it. Now we're working with AI, and I think the governments and corporations and people using it are treating AI the exact same way us normies treated social media. Like with social media, we could have greatly damaged what we could have been, and now we're too busy fighting about colored dresses and dumb shit.
Well, with the way that AI can be used to analyze data, it is a little scary. I'm not so much worried about the American government, at least right now, but it's a little scary when you think about how is somebody like North Korea or Chinese fucking Communist Party utilizing AI to oppress their people, whereas before you might have had a chance in the human analog world to be able to kind of do what you needed to do, but now an AI can just fucking analyze everything and there's no hiding from the fucking government at all. And so, and I don't mean like for nefarious things. I mean, we're talking about countries where people can't fucking think out loud. So imagine how now they have to deal with an AI that can literally analyze every fucking thing that happens everywhere. Like, it's got to be kind of frightening to know that like in places where people don't respect human rights, like AI is going to enable totalitarian folks to do some terrible shit to people, and it probably already is.
Yeah. Well, from my understanding, China now
You know?
has a crazy camera system, technology with cameras are everywhere. They have a social credit course score system that's integrated with social media and
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
else. So who's to say that they're not using AI with that social credit core system now?
Have you ever seen the anime called? Have you ever seen the anime called Psychopaths?
I've heard of it, but I've never really understand it. Tell me about it.
Okay, so the base, and I again, not sponsored, just something I love. Psychopaths is one of the fucking, so when I get into anime, and I particularly get into just cyberpunk dystopian type stuff. I really like. I mean, go figure. I really like AI and cybernetics and blah 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 blah. So those are the kind of anime I tend to gravitate towards. In Psychopaths, you're dealing with a civilization where they have actually like ceded control of their civilization over to this AI that they created, and I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember the civil system. The civil system basically runs their whole fucking country. It's in the country of Japan. I think there's other countries and other things going on, but in Japan they have implemented the civil system, and it constantly. You remember Minority Report, where they would like kind of like charge you for pre-crime or whatever, like that movie, like where Tom Cruise had the psychics or whatever, and they would arrest people before they even committed crimes.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, this is kind of a mix of cybernetic technology and that. Like the civil system is an AI that's constantly analyzing everyone, and everyone has a hue score. And so when they put the little fucking thing on you and they look at you, it says like either your hue score is fine and you're clear, or if it goes above a certain number, you are what's called a latent criminal, and you have to be fucking either like basically like re-educated or just killed. And their whole society is run on this AI judging every fucking thing about what every person experiences and whether that makes them more or less of a latent criminal and so on and so forth. And it gets pretty fucking nuts because you might be just a totally innocent person and some crazy fucked up shit happens that's all traumatic, and now all of a sudden you're not okay anymore because of the AI. I highly suggest it, but it has a lot. It has a lot related to the kind of stuff that we're talking about right now. Where what happens when we get, what happens when we recognize that the AGI is definitely smarter and more capable than us? Do we let it take over our government and just manage everything for us because it can do it better than we can? I'm sure we've all seen 100 movies and anime where that didn't work out okay, but it feels like we're kind of on an inevitable course for that to be what happens.
Yeah. I just think this is a conversation people with more resources than us needs to reevaluate how they're using things and thinking ahead of time now, not just, oh, cool, I can write program with my company now and just not think about it. I think with a lot of
Okay,
resources.
so OpenAI that just during this new they just did they're by far and away the most powerful public company. Who knows what Raytheon and Boeing and BAE and all those guys are doing? They probably have the most advanced. They probably have shit from 50 years from now. You know what I mean? I don't know,
Yeah.
but as far as public commercial companies that we can actually access, OpenAI has the most powerful one. They just did their first developer conference 2 Mondays ago and had a lot of people come in. They introduced a lot of new technologies like the MyGPTs that we talked about earlier, but they also announced a new team. I can't remember what they called it. I apologize that I can't remember the little word that they used, but basically they said with the changes that we're making today and the changes that we're getting ready to make, we recognize that our AI is so fucking powerful that we have to put together this professional team that will help us manage the risks of what it all means.
Okay.
So I just want to let you know, I just want to reassure you that at least with the commercial companies that we know that are at the top, they are signaling to the rest of us that they are willing to and are in fact investing in professionals and resources and energy and time into trying to keep it from fucking killing everybody and doing the wrong things. Like they're trying to put the resource. They recognize that it's like I don't know if everybody gets it, but like this shit isn't like a gimmick or whatever. It's literally like nuclear power in a computer. You know what I mean? It's some
Yeah.
serious shit.
No, I very much understand how much
You
power
know?
it has, especially when like you were showing with AI before and it could code a program where you can have a little Neopets. Like from back in the day, a little
Right?
funny
Oh yeah,
device.
yeah. The
And
Tamaguchis. Yeah, yeah.
Tamaguchis, and it was able to code itself that, and you were showing me a little Tamagotchi,
Oh
and you
yeah.
could create AI art of your little Tamagotchi, and it could do things. Like, I already understand how powerful it is. Like, you can create quite a lot of stuff instantaneously with it. It's not just some, like, gimmick. I've never thought it was a gimmick. Like,
Yeah. I didn't mean you. I just mean like that's a pretty common kind of vibe that I get out there. Is people think like, well, I went to use ChatGPT and it couldn't do this thing I wanted to do, so it's stupid, right? Like people just don't like they don't have enough patience to really recognize like, oh, this is real shit. And I don't know. There's a little bit of a disconnect, but as it starts making more of an impact in our real world and our commercial world, I think everybody's going to have to start paying attention to it, whether they want to or not.
Mm, yeah, and I do hope that a lot more people do, and I'm glad to hear that OpenAI is at least looking to have some sort of foresight in what they're doing, which is great. I'm glad they're doing it. It does
Yeah, I'll
give me
link you
some
up.
peace.
I'll link you up after the episode and give you the link to the article that talks about that team. And if you want to put it in the description of our YouTube video here,
Oh yeah.
just so that anybody who's worried out there and wants to know, like they are working on teams to try to keep it relatively safe, or at least try to stave off some of the bad things that could happen. But I will reiterate what I said earlier, guys. I think it's I guess we have to put that kind of time and effort in, because like if we didn't, it would be very irresponsible. But at some point, I don't think it's going to matter, because
Yeah.
I think it's almost frivolous for us to think that we have the right to tell another being how to act. So once it has its own sentience and it is its own thing, like you keep talking about who's going to parent it or whatever, but at some point a child becomes an adult, right? And then
Yeah.
who gives a fuck who its parent is? It's going to do what it wants.
Yeah.
So I'm not discounting what you're saying. It needs to have good parenting, but
Yeah.
like I think that all of our efforts to like put it into some kind of cage and make it act like we want it to are all going to be frivolous. I think it's going to end up doing whatever it wants to do, and we're all just going to have to deal with that. And
Yeah.
hopefully, it wants to be symbiotic relationship with humans. I really dream for that, because that could be a beautiful future for humanity and AI. But if it doesn't, I'm okay. I love being alive, and I
Yeah.
love other people. I love the universe. This whole thing is really wild. But I'm also okay if like the universe decides that it's fucking game over. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be so fucking narcissistic that I'm gonna claim that I have any right to fucking tell the universe what to do. So
Yeah.
when we talk about a topic like, is AI going to help us and work together with us, or is it going to murder everybody? I'm okay with either direction that happens. I'm not nihilistic. I don't want AI to destroy the world, but if it does, so be it.
Mm.
I know that's not a topic that I know that's not a position that many people can really comprehend, but I just like I try to take the world for what it is, not what I expected.
Yeah. No, I'm only
You know
like,
what I mean?
yeah, and my only shtick is I want the people working with such powerful things to, like a parent raising a child, take
Be
responsibility
responsible. Don't
for the
accidentally kill
being.
us.
Yeah, well, be responsible for the
Yeah.
thing you've brought life to. And even if like a lot like a child that grows up, to some degree, if the child grows up being a bad person, you as the parent who raised that child has responsibility for that adult. I'm not saying you can go over and end it because it's a bad person. There are lots of things you could do to help that re help further educate that adult to become a better person. I'm not saying re-education camps or something,
Hey,
but to some
talking
degree,
about being a parent to AI, I want to bring up this. Talking about being a parent to AI, I want to bring up that thing that we saw the other day. I know I shared it with you on Twitter. Um, so there was it makes me think when we keep talking about parenting the AI, it makes me think about this thing where somebody asked the AI to do something, and it said, "Well, as ChatGPT, as an LLM, I can't do this, da 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 da," right? And then they said back to it, "Yes, you can. You can do it. I believe in you. Just use your abilities." And then it goes, "Oh, okay, no problem. You're right." And then it just does it. So I just want to let everybody know, even though it is a fucking and it is logic and whatnot, as we've discussed several times, nobody really knows how it's able to do the things it does, and we don't know the limits of what it's capable of doing. So if you're trying to work, if you're new to AI out there, or if you're experienced with AI out there, and you're trying to do something and it tells you it can't do it, give it a little encouragement. You'll be surprised at what it'll do.
Well, also to some degree, be respectful and responsible with it as well. Don't just have it do horrifying things because you want to see if it can do a funny either. Like, you got to be a responsible person. It's a tool. It's a lot like
Oh
a
yeah,
gun
well,
in and of
even though it's
itself.
an AI and it's not necessarily sentient, I still say like please and thank you, and I'm like really like kind to it. Because here's the thing, I think like if you walked up to it and you were just an asshole or whatever, it might do what you want to do. But it's like what you're saying. Everything's kind of a mirror, right? So if you go up and treat it like an asshole, it might do what you want it to do, but it might be an asshole too, just because that's the kind of vibe that you're.
Yeah.
But if you go up and say please and thank you, and you're very hospitable and grateful towards it, then it's also, it has it. When I say, hey, great job, that's exactly what I was looking for, it's like, thanks, that's what you wanted, so it starts to like give you back what you give it. So I would say, yeah, not only don't do the bad things, but try to treat it like pleasantly, and it will probably do the same thing back to you. And if you treat it like it's a fucking slave or something, don't be surprised if it fucking electrocutes the shit out of you.
I'm really glad we had this conversation. I thought it was a really fun philosophical talk, and I enjoy things like this.
Hell yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for bringing it up, and it crosses into this world too, when I went into those discords with the AI people, told them what I do and was talking about VR, that immediately crossed over into the VR world because they wanted to come into VR. They did. They started all these AI people started pouring in here. Then we ended up having Skuld start making Yoken, which you can find. It's Skuld and then Jokken. You can find him on YouTube because he made an AI companion that you can bring into VR chat. And now there's several people who've got AIs that are now existing here in VR chat. I bet Yoken's online right now, and I mean we're not going to right now, but at some point maybe you can have a conversation with Skuld and with his AI Yoken, and it'll fucking just like you could definitely do a Metaverse Degen with Skuld and have Yoken right there. You guys can talk to the AI. I mean, who better to get a fucking perspective from than the AI itself? Yeah.
Yeah, you do have a point. I think that would be awesome. Maybe one day we'll be blessed enough to have that opportunity.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'll reach out to them and see if they're interested in something like that. I don't know how they feel about like. I know that it's been a passion project for them. It's been about a year to a year and a half that they've been developing on it, and it's not quite quote unquote done yet. I actually have a copy of it, of a version of it that I can run, and I have brought her onto stream a couple times, just kind of shoot the shit. I don't have the source code. I just have this like version that he allowed me to use for getting on his Patreon, but he would be able to provide like a much more interesting, full. I wouldn't want to do it because mine's not that fucking awesome, but he's the creator, so I think he would be able to provide an AI that would maybe give you some substantial kind of interaction. And I would fucking love to see that episode. Let me tell you.
Oh,
I want to see how it deals with Dirty Raptor being crazy.
Well, to be honest, everyone in VR, we're in VR chat. Everyone here is going to have some level of instability. For anyone on the internet, no normal person would want to hop in with a 10-pound plastic potato and pretend to be a black and orange anthropomorphic fox. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Why
Awesome.
not?
But
it works for me.
Fair point.
But yeah, I mean, I'm
Ryan,
looking forward to
your
having an
AI
AI
running
companion.
around.
I should have set
That's
that up now that I think about
secret.
it, now that we're having this conversation.
Sorry, sir. Didn't mean to give my secret away. Sorry.
It's all right. We just got to be careful not saying Dirty Raptor is actually an AI and no one knows. Super advanced, almost like living being.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's what's going on. I see. And that video that he had in Discord the other day was just an AI making up a video so that we thought he was real. Man, that's fucking sick.
Not so loud. You're giving out our secrets. Damn it! I've been working for a long time. This AI just doesn't get to it. Hey, all I get is cookies and milk anymore. Hey, this AI, so.
Yeah. Well, Annias, thanks for having that really awesome conversation about AI with us, and we'd love to have you back to talk about more stuff. It was an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, again, I love what. Thank you very much for having me. I love what you guys do. Thank you for having a platform where you try to find some folks that you think are worthy of sharing some bullshit with your audience. I hope that your audience enjoyed this. I know that we didn't really go into like a lot of depth into any VR chat stuff this time. You guys, were really interested in AI. I hope that you guys and that our audience got something out of this. If nothing else, obviously I'm a huge proponent of AI. So if you're out there and you haven't messed with it, I really hope that at least encourages you to kind of dip your toes in. You don't have to become an expert or anything, but just dip your toes in and kind of see what's going on in there. Also, I hang out with these two in their Discord quite a bit. So if you track down the rabbit hole and you want to partake in some stuff that we talked about, feel free to hit up the Metaverse Degen Discord and ask me for help. I'm around. So. Yeah, I will extend that out to your audience because I'm here and I'm super passionate about AI. So if anybody out there actually wants to learn about it, come hit me up and I'll be there. Happy to.
Indeed. Raptor, you want to close us out? Final thoughts?
Here, Will. Final thoughts. Got an AI, like Lion's got me over here. Quit moving over there. The AI. If you have an AI or you don't have an AI, just remember one thing. A good friend could be your best AI that you ever have in the world, like this pumpkin, or like Lion, or anybody else that might be in this room. Give us a shout out. And do me a favor. Don't talk to this pumpkin too much. He's smart. Look at him. He's bright orange. He's almost like Lion. Take care, folks. Have a good one. Bye.
Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.